finding samples, using samples, chopping samples, clearing samples, making samples, sending out samples. There's this never-ending conversation in the producer community on the topic and subtopics of sampling. You know, I've been making samples for a while. I've been getting placements with samples, both on my own and with the Vintage Vandals. I made a few videos about that. But today I bring you a conversation I had with DJ Burn One, who's another person with DJ and One in his name, about his group of sample makers, about how he got placements with samples, about his process of sending samples to producers. Does he send exclusive samples? Does he send the same samples to different producers? And he tells some interesting stories. For example, his role in Gucci Mane's career, getting his first placements off of SoundClick, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Hope you enjoy this conversation. This is from a Music Entrepreneur Club live session powered by BeatStars. They go down Monday and Thursdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Mondays are Dame, Thursdays are me. It's a free music business mentorship program. Free, you don't have to sign up for anything. So I guess I'll see you there, because it's free. Let's be honest, you're not gonna find these videos anywhere else. Why? Because I make them. So it would really help me out if you subscribe. If you've already subscribed, what also really helps is if you like the video and leave a comment. It's hard in the era of clickbait videos on YouTube and negativity in the producer community, and I appreciate your support. Thank you so much. That the A$AP Rocky thing was a crazy story, because that, you know, you after a year of making beats and just putting them on SoundClick and not expecting anything, they reached out to you. You ended up on a major project. You had 2 placements on an artist's groundbreaking album. And so, I mean, 1, it shows you anything can happen. And 2, it shows you that just putting your music out there, releasing it rather than hoarding it, will always be the better option, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I just figured, I was like, man, maybe somebody would like to do something to these, you know? I think leasing SoundClick was just kind of just making a little bit of noise, and I think online beat selling was just kind of in its infancy, you know. At least to me, maybe it was doing it before, but I was like, you know, let me just throw them up there. And I wasn't like actively putting them up the whole time. It was just at the end of the year. I was like, well, I've got all these tracks, you know, let me just put some of the ones I think are the best up there, you know.
So another moment in history that you were a big part of was the rise of Gucci Mane, and you were a big part of his career as well. Actually, in his autobiography, he more or less says that you saved him, which is, you know, that's not something to be taken lightly. I mean, you pushed him harder to get into the mixtape game, which really built his movement, and that's something that he's pretty much synonymous with now. How did that all go down? I know you've told me the story before, but I'm sure there are people in here that might not even realize that, especially if they haven't read his autobiography yet. Yeah,
I had met him around the time when he did like a response with this label called Never Again Records to Black Tea. So they did a response to White Tea. It was called Black Tea. Anyway, so I go over to the studio. He's the only one there. Then he takes me to Zetoven's house and plays me So Icy. I was like, all right, cool. I was like, you want to do a mixtape? He's like, what's that? I was like, he put a bunch of songs. You know, I was trying to tell him. He was like, I don't know. You know, I'm about to drop this song. Song comes out and does well. And like a year later, I think he was trying to put out more music, and it just wasn't really going too well. And he hit me up. He was like, yo, that thing you were talking about? I was like, the mixtape? He was like, yeah, let's do that, you know? And just linking up with him, I just kind of described to him what 50 Cent was doing, you know? Like the history of what a mixtape was, going from like blend tapes and exclusives and stuff like that to artists like, you know, doing like 50 Cent, you know, doing their tapes like that. And I was like, instead of doing, you know, freestyles like he's doing, yours can be songs, you know, like your original content, you know, as opposed to you taking somebody else's beat and doing your thing. The way your twist could be on it is you're doing original songs, you know. And he was like, you know, at that point, I think he was on the outs with his label, and it just seemed appealing to him. And so he really took that blueprint and just ran with it. You know, like Chicken Talk came out, and he pretty much left the like distribution. Like I took the picture, he left it all up to me. I put it all together, like even splitting into 2 discs and just everything. And it was really dope, man. It was tight seeing like it spread out through like the Midwest and, you know, really go crazy. And then he kept that shit going, you know, like he came with another one and another one and just kept up the quality. And he's always in the studio and he loves rapping, you know, like he has fun with it. Like I have fun when I make beats, you know? So it's like, it was just it was cool to be in the studio with him because we spent like a month in the studio. We only used like maybe 2 or 3 of the songs from those sessions, and the rest of it was from previous. But it was a great time, definitely.
I mean, up to that point, I feel like that was around the time, and correct me if I'm wrong, that was around the time when mixtapes started becoming what they are now, which is essentially just the album.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of all original music.
Album.
Yeah, so who was doing that around that time that inspired you and Gucci Mane to start down that path, or was that something that you broke some ground on?
I mean, I don't know if I claim to be the first one to do it like that, but it was just something that we were all doing. You know, like me, Black Bill Gates, Scream, Pretty Boy Tank, like a lot of Atlanta DJs. That was just kind of something we were doing. We'd do exclusive tapes, and then we'll do tapes with artists. I don't really know if it was like who came first thing on that, but I think it just became like a way of being like, I want to do a whole project with you. You know, like I did one with Young Dro. And that ended up being more mixtape-ish because he didn't have as much original content, you know? So that was more like a mix of freestyles, older songs, and new stuff. I just kind of put it all together of like, you know, this is, you know, I called it Future Legends. I was trying to package it together like this is a full buffet of this guy's styles and flavors and stuff, you know? And that actually worked, you know? After that came out, Joe hit me. He was like, yo, I have a fan base now. You know, people hit me and say they're my fans off that project. Like they were able to like listen to the different flows and different stuff. And they really fuck with me. And it just happened to be the same week Shoulderling came out. So that was like very serendipitous.
Yeah, I mean, that's now, maybe not so much now, but at the time that was really a kind of the marketing strategy then was to drop the mixtape and then follow it up with all the official releases like the single and the album and all that. And so you as a producer and a DJ, you're doing both at the same time. How are you separating those roles? I mean, as a DJ, you're doing one thing, as a producer, you're doing another, or did you kind of marry the two and really produce these mixtapes in the sense of not necessarily making all the beats for them, but really guiding the process and I guess taking more of an executive production role? Because I know a lot of producers want to wear a lot of different hats. They don't just want to make beats.
Absolutely. It was definitely more executive production in the beginning. And then once I got to like Starlito's Renaissance Gangster, that was when I started like actually producing on the projects. A lot of it early, like I said, was like Gucci, you know, like telling me else to a project. He's like, I don't know anything. You can run point on everything, distribution, you know. So I talked to the wholesalers. I talked to all the, you know, mom and pop stores. I got, like I said, I took the picture. I got the cover done. Top to bottom, even saying, hey, this is going to be a double disc. And, you know, these are the songs we should use. So it was dope. So it was dope doing that and then morphing into producing. And then now kind of doing a little bit of everything, you know, working with somebody like Scotty. That was one of the first artists I was able to really like get in with and, you know, help create a sound with. And like his first project, Summer Dreams, was like on the top of Spin Magazine's top projects and stuff. And that was just from us working and making, you know, dope music, but it was from a mix of all that, you know, knowing different people at blogs, having those relationships from early, because I knew of A$AP Rocky because Yams had sent me a song early from him when it was just Rocky. It wasn't even A$AP Rocky, it was just Rocky. It was called Been Around the World or Around the World, something like that. And I put up on my website Boulevard Street. I actually started Boulevard Street because I had the whole year off. I was like, well, I need to do something else. I need a hobby. I was like, well, let me just talk about rap, you know? So I talk about old rap I like, highlight new stuff. And that was just one of the songs I posted up. So I don't know if he was like familiar from that. And I knew Yam said he had, you know, just knew some of the other stuff I did too, you know. But it was just cool having all those different outlets. I think all that kind of opens it up too, because I got cool with a lot of bloggers too, having a blog, you know. And then when I come out with music, it's not that big an issue to send it to them. Not pressure on them, but I know them and I can send it to them, you know. So it's like being able to put some of these different things together.
Okay, so you actually worked in some capacity with A$AP's team before they selected your beats for the project.
I wouldn't say work with, but they had sent me a song and I posted it up, you know. And I was like, I literally said something like, the comment was like, New York dude on some South shit. I fuck with it, you know. He had like some wall guitars and stuff. I was like, it sounded pretty cool, you know.
Okay, so that was always his style then.
Oh yeah, from the first one I heard, and that was like maybe 8 months to a year before Peso came out.
But that had nothing to do with them circling back and getting your beats? You don't think?
I don't know. You never
It's
know.
just a coincidence. Yeah, I guess you never know.
It couldn't hurt, I was
Yeah.
definitely like, my name was in the circle,
Yeah, it's crazy because you're describing your first, couple years of producing as really kind of hands off. I mean, in the sense that you had access to probably a lot of opportunities and a lot of artists and a lot of artist managers, and you weren't harassing them to send them beats, and you weren't, trying to get them in the studio or anything. Why was that?
I was the opposite. I was like always trying to, now they were like, provide value, provide value. I was on that shit so early, like I remember just being like, man, I want to be around some of my favorite producers and artists. What can I do? I was like, let me do a hip hop DVD. I'll highlight their shit, promote whatever they're doing, and then I'll get to be around them. So like I went around with D4L when like Laffy Taffy and all, like Bitch Can't Do It Like Me just dropped. They were like the hottest thing. I remember going out to shows down to Macon with them and getting live footage. And I met with a bunch of different people. DJ Toon, who's like a friend of mine now, like we work together. I always just knew if I made myself of service or I did something for somebody, I would just be at least cool to be around. I didn't even want anything. I just wanted him to like be like, oh, well, he did this thing and that's why he's cool, because after I interviewed him, he was like, oh, he's cool, he really cares. And, next time I was like, oh shit, I hit him up. I was like, yeah, I'm around your way, I got some weed, I'd love to, whatever. And just came through and we've been kicking it ever since, But there's so many relationships, even from just doing that one DVD that I could point to of like so many relationships,
Yeah, I mean, nowadays,
I feel like everybody wants to be put on and everybody's like, I'm hungry, I'm this, I'm that.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, it's like, all right, that's cool that you produce or whatever, but learn how to do something outside of that if whatever you're doing isn't helping somebody out, Like, I was DJing, I was like, I didn't know how to do videos and stuff like that. I literally would go to the Art Institute of Atlanta and use their lab. I didn't have a fucking computer that can handle that shit. I would go to the Art Institute, and that's where I learned how to edit on their computers. Now I'm doing videos and stuff. But it was like learning from doing it, and they're free. Like a homie who was a student there, and did the whole thing there over the course of like 2 months. So it's like they always say you got to get uncomfortable or whatever. Like I didn't know anything about it, but I knew if they saw that DVD and it was like dope, and I like helped tell their story and promote whatever artists they're working with. Like Tim had Sugar at the time, so all types of different stuff. It's like I just had a feeling that would that would be helpful, and it has. So many dope relationships off doing that, There's so many people I feel like who as soon as they get around anybody, they're like trying to leech. They're like, what can I get from this person? What can I get? What can I? And it's like, you don't have to get anything in that initial time. Like if you're cool, they'll let you be around. You could probably get something better than whatever even your initial want or, like if you want a placement, like, oh, you want it so bad, but you're too thirsty, they're not going to like that, But if you're cool and you like help do something for them, you're like, yo, let me redo your website or let me do this. Then they're like, oh shit, and you got beats too? Let me check that shit out. Damn, let me flip this or let me do that. It just leads to opportunities,
What are some ways that you think producers nowadays in 2020 going into 2021 can provide value first and build meaningful relationships?
Exactly like that. Just getting in where you fit in. Like if you see somebody that needs something, like there's a lot of times, if you see somebody needs, like I say, like graphics or engineering or, something like if you engineer too, like, oh, let me mix a song in the house or let me let me just do something, and it's not like, oh, working for free. It's like, they don't know you from fucking nobody, and it's like, you're wanting to be something around what they got. So you got to prove yourself and you got to do something for them, there's all types of stuff. Like I said, maybe something about web stuff, whatever, random people, have all types of hobbies. Like if you do graphics or if you do anything, just try to see if you're wanting to be around something or you're wanting something, try to find a way that you can be useful in that space, even if that's not your trade. I feel like learning a skill is a skill. And once you learn how to learn skill, you can just learn how to learn anything. It's not really about talent. Anything that I want to learn how to do, I can just sit here and watch, some mix with the masters, or I can watch this, or there's information out there for pretty much anything. You just have to have the dedication to sit there and put the time into it.
So how do you find a balance between providing value and that risk of becoming the guy that's always working for free?
Because I love music, and if I would have, shot that DVD just to do that with Toomp, and he never called me again, that'd have been more than enough. I got to hang out with Toomp for fucking an hour and a half, like, come the fuck on. How was that a loss? You know what I'm saying? Like, people look at stuff in like weird ways. It's like, I got to be around him for an hour and a half. Like, even if we never talked again, that was more than enough. Like, I learned so much. I could have just watched the interview back again, I think people just expect too much out of things, like it goes like the gratitude and shit like that, if people are just grateful for the little things, and I just feel like I said, I feel like people just get real like leechy, and if they like get off that energy and just think, what can I do to help somebody? Somebody's gonna want to help you because they're like, damn, this dude helped me out, or this girl helped me out, I don't know. I think people just, a lot of people, not everybody, but I think a lot of people, when they think, if they want to get it, I think they have to like just blow people up nonstop and this, that, or the other. It's like, if you have to hit somebody 40 times, you're not coming with the right proposition. It's like, change your approach. Stop hitting people up. Oh, I got to do this, or I got to do, it's like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, especially now, I'm afraid to take a compliment in a DM or a comment.
Why is that?
Because I know what's coming next. I don't know if you are flooded with that, but it's like, oh, right. I appreciate what you're doing, or your beats are hot. Yeah, cool, thanks. By the way, check out my new album. I'd love it if you could share it, if you could get it in the hands of the right people. Also, let me know if you want to give me any beats. Also, let me know if you can buy it or stream it on Spotify. Tell your followers to do the same. It's just like, oh, I don't know you at all. And I have producers I don't know sending me contracts and saying, hey, I need help with this. I'm like, I'm not even a lawyer. You just want me to save you $500 on like a half-ass legal job. Like, I'm not doing that. So it's just crazy to hear you say that. Yeah. Well, yeah, but the narrative that a lot of people cling to is you just got to get it right away. It doesn't matter. Relationship building, networking, none of that matters. You just have to get your opportunities, and now.
I used to knock it, but bro, it's a hustle too. I can't knock it either. Just because I'm in it for the pure love doesn't mean I can't knock it for somebody who's going to use it to support their family in a positive way. I used to look against that, but I'm like, who am I to judge anybody? It's like, if you're going to use that as a legal hustle to, what I'm saying? Whatever. It's like, I'm not really tripping. It's like, there's ways to go about it. There's ways that you can help yourself in the process, Right.
Even do you think it's effective?
Not be short-sighted in the process, but I feel like a lot of people, what Puffy say, I forget what they said. It was like, don't blame them for they know not what they do. It was like some random thing that he had said at the end of a song. Like, they don't know, dog. A lot of people are new. They have no idea. You know what I'm saying? Like, this ain't a contract because they don't know to go get a lawyer. And, you know what I'm saying? Like, to go and hit somebody up. They haven't watched enough of your videos. They should watch more of your videos. It's like, they should do a little more. It's like, but that's something a lot of people should do too. Like, you have a question, a lot. Google's your friend. Before I hit somebody, I'll hit Google first. And I'll try to find out, like I'll source like the top 5 or 6, answers and kind of figure out the truth in between it, And then if there's something highly specific, then I'll hit somebody, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're absolutely right that people just, they don't know better, and
they got no idea.
Right, and it's ironic because this is the information age when there are more free resources than we've ever had before.
Right, and then also too, I think that's mixed with like the most. This is like the most things are given to you at a whim time ever. Like all the information is at your fingertips. All because of that, people are lazier. I've had to like rewire my brain to thinking like, oh, bouncing something because I work in all the different DAWs. So I'm like, I had to rewire my brain to be like, it's not a big deal to bounce out my files from my stems in Ableton and throw them in FL and then mix it in Pro Tools. I'm not working with 2-inch tape and having to cut it every time there's a new take and having to like splice it and do, like I hear those stories. I'm like, damn, I sound real lazy being like, oh, I don't want to, I'm like, I have to like check myself on that, So I think that's something we could all, work on a little bit. It's like, stuff is so easy now. Like people are sitting in their room getting all this knowledge right now. You used to have to go to a seminar, or you used to have to like
pay for it
and tutelage of somebody and like carry your records or come and set up my instruments at a show or, you know what I'm saying? Like, but now they can just sit at the house and get this information, It kind of makes all of us a little bit spoiled, but I think it's like the information still should be out there, and the people who we're doing it for, they're gonna get it and use it positively. You know, it's like whether they get it now. I've said so much stupid shit to people. You know, like talking about somebody sending you a contract. I've done similar shit to that. Not that, but like things in that vein, just being green. Yeah. You know, and so it's like can't really knock them. You know, like when people are heavy-handed in their approach, that's just what it's kind of kind of puts me off. But other than that, it's like we're all figuring it out.
So changing gears, early on in your career, you had some kind of negative interactions with the major labels, and that, I believe, made you want to advocate for producers. What would you say is the biggest concern for producers with regards to working within the major label system?
I think the time of payment is a big issue. Like I feel like for a lot of times they just like want to string out the negotiations when it's not even like the terms are that crazy. It's like you're just selling a beat. These terms aren't that wild. There's like 8 deal points. Like really, if you break down, advance, royalties, certain points, and mechanical, different things. Like you have like 8 to 10, I don't know, 12 points. It's like it can't take 7 months to work that out. But it's not in the lawyer's best interest to get it finished sooner. And so the producers suffer, and then once it gets cut, then it gets done. The business gets handled finally, and then it takes another 3 months to get paid. Because it's not just like a guarantee that's going to be even a net 30 or net 60. Like a lot of labels won't just put that in there, which seems like a simple thing. So it's like they've stretched out something that you did the work, you turned in the song. It took 7 months to get the paperwork done or whatever, and then another couple months to get paid. Sometimes it's stretched over a year, longer. It's like wasn't like I chose to be a producer advocate. It's just like I want to tell people like, hey, I went through this shit, and if I could tell you my story, maybe you don't have to go through it. Like just saving people some headaches, and that's why I'm never like don't sample. It's just like if you sample some random shit like I did, Lionel Richie might be a songwriter and want 40,000. It's like you're putting yourself up to that. Now it is the label's job to pay for it. Very true. But you're putting yourself at risk with that, That's why I spent the past 10 years learning how to make original samples with my team of live musicians and, producers. We make all our shit sound, it's live, but it sounds like samples, Like I spent time figuring that out just because I didn't want to have to deal with sampling. But I still sample, I love it. It's the backbone of hip hop. But now it's a challenge for me to make, after that first year, I was like, damn, I love sampling. To me, it got kind of easy. And I was like, I wanted a deeper challenge, I was like, I want to make textures like these. I want to make stuff that sounds like this. And so somebody like Pi'erre Bourne, he's able to like slide away, because when I first met him, he played me a beat that was sampling Street Fighter. It was so hard. But I was like, you probably shouldn't sample. I think I told him don't sample anymore, just boldly, I was like, I told him about my situation. And then he goes on, does Magnolia and other records, no samples, he's eating all that, It's like if it was a sample and it could have been a problem, I remember working with the Backwoods. I was doing their A&R when I was young, like 19, when they were signed to Dallas Austin. And there was a problem with them clearing the Oompa Loompa sample. They had a song called I Don't Like the Look of It. And it was so it was like Dallas could get it cleared. So like, shit, we'll sign with Dallas, It wasn't like that was the only thing, but it was like, shit, if we need this song, we really think this song's going to work. And he's got that relationship, They kind of push in these positions otherwise you wouldn't be in, And so certain records are worth that, That record was worth that for sure. But, like I say, now that's why I like the original samples. And it's like a whole new marketplace and a whole new avenue. It's really dope. Like when we started doing it like 6 years ago, I couldn't have seen it like blossom into what it is now. It's really dope.
So you keep alluding to your situation with sampling. What was your situation with sampling?
Oh, with the A$AP Rocky records. Those first 2 records, one of them was the Lionel Richie sample, or he had wrote on it. And then another one, I forget what it was, but I think the Lionel Richie one, that was the problem. It wasn't a Lionel Richie song. He just happened to be a co-writer. I think it was like Fifth Dimension or something. And he won like 40,000. So that was what they kind of just, sat behind. They're like, he wants this much money. We're not going to pay for that, I think they kind of just rolled the dice on the project as a whole, because they didn't put it out through the label, You refer to it as a major label album. That's what it was, but they put it out as a mixtape. They didn't release it as an album, officially. It was just kind of like leaked it to the streets. So they kind of got around having to pay for all the samples and all that. But, that led to a lot of issues, a lot of problems and just different things, and you know,
Yeah, because that gets sloppy then, because
hey,
it
when
was
somebody
being
has an
sold,
actual
right?
excuse to not pay you, you know, and it's like
Yeah.
you feel like, damn, you don't want to just throw me something anyways. Like I feel like, you know, it's like you don't think I deserve nothing, but this is where people's hearts are, you know. But so that shit kind of stunned me from, you know, it was funny. Even before that happened, I had kind of made up my mind that I was going to find musicians and start making my own samples. I just had it in my head, and then I got with Ricky and Walt and Professor, and we started forming the 5 Points Bakery.
Okay, so tell me about 5 Points Bakery. What is it in a nutshell?
So we're a production company. Right now it's me, Go Ricky Go, who plays guitar. He's an artist. Walt Live, who plays keys, and he's an artist as well. And Anna Valena, she sings and plays different instruments, and she's an artist as well. But all four of us, we produce together. Me and Walt, we mix together. You know, like mix records. That's something we've been doing a lot lately, is mixing records. We actually just started mixing and mastering records at the legendary Tree Sound Studios here. That's a service we're offering in conjunction with them now. So it's really dope to form a partnership with somebody like that. You know, like Drake and Future did What a Time to Be Alive there. You know, Elton John and Lenny Kravitz have recorded there. You know, it's like so much history. So for us to be able to offer mixing and mastering out is like an honor. You know, so we do that. We do sound design. We got some of our sounds in the 1917 and Justice League movie trailers. And so like the 1917 where there's like these gun sounds, and then I forget what it was in Justice League, but sound design. We do all types of stuff. We done scoring. We scored Snow on the Bluff. Like we did the trailer music for that and some of the music in there. We scored like an E3 commercial for Ubisoft. All types of different stuff. So basically, we all play different instruments and different things, and then we warp and mangle them and make them sound, you know, like samples, and then build on top of that. You know, so we might play for like one of us playing or a couple of us playing, and we'll play for a little bit, and then we'll flip that, and then grab like a section, and then build on top of that, just like we would the samples. We just make the sample ourselves, you know. And so that's really dope, you know. We're about to start doing a lot more stuff on YouTube. We got a show called Options that we're about to start dropping content of just showing us making beats, showing how to make cool shit. You know, I'm gonna show people how to make samples, you know, how to make them the right way, you know. Like I know there's definitely a market for loops, you know, but we make compositions, you know. Like from 6-7 years ago when we started, we've always just made like these pieces of music that like may go like 2 minutes and it morphs and changes, and you know, I know some people just have a couple, you know, they pull up the Omnisphere and do a couple plucks. It's not really a sample, you know. That's why when I hear loops, that's what I think about, you know. I don't know what I'm rambling on about now.
Well, here's a question that's
yeah, exactly. Yep. Then
was that how you would describe it?
What we come up with. Sorry, I was answering this question. Yeah, we jam. So we'll plug in. So maybe I'll be on bass, Ann will be on keys, or Ann will be singing and Walt's on keys and I'm on bass, or Ricky's on keys and I'm on bass, or Ricky's on guitar and I'm on keys, or Ricky's on guitar, bass, and I'm on guitar, or whatever, you know. Like we'll always find these random combinations, and we'll just play into Ableton, whatever, like playing through our pedals or playing through whatever, and then I'll bounce all that as one file, and I'll just call it like whatever the name is and flip, and then I'll bring it into a sampler, and I'll chop that up and just find like the nice 8-bar, you know, like the nice 8-bar loop, and I might chop a different part for the intro, the hook, and the verse, you know, and then I got my little arrangement going, you know, and I'll just go ahead and start building up. And we'll start adding new sounds to that. So it'll get a new bass or a new 808 or something new. Because it's like when you sample it, if you pitch it up or down, you're either going to lose high frequencies or low frequencies, you know? And you're going to gain some or lose some going either way. So it's like we'll hear it and be like, okay, if we pitch it down, I know we're going to lose some high end. So now we might need to add some type of, you know, add another layer of guitar, or another, you know, and a vocal pedal tracker, you know? So amp textures.
So how many instruments do you play currently?
Man, Ricky says if you can hear it, you can play it. And so I kind of think whatever I play, because I play lap steel. I got this Japanese lap steel. This shit's fun right here. I don't know if you can see it. I got this 1972 Japanese lap steel. This shit's pretty cool. Play that. I don't know. I don't really feel like I play anything. I guess bass is what I play more than anything, but I can play little keys and stuff. I think I can get ideas down. I can compose. I don't think I'm so much as a performer like that. But I am working on my chops, you know. I'm trying to get better every day.
What are some strategies you use just to pick up those instruments to the point where you're comfortable playing them maybe in a more controlled environment, obviously not jumping up on stage at an opera house, but
Man,
because a lot of people are afraid to do that.
And courage is effects, like effects to me are like you could just pick up a sine wave and put like sketch cassette on there and like put the wow and flutter up, and it's just gonna sound like, oh shit, like as soon as I get a texture, then I can get like, okay, I got a vibe, like if I put a delay and I'm playing into the delay, I'm like, oh, then I get an instant inspiration or something simple. I think just not putting too much pressure and just putting something cool on there. A lot of stuff like I'll put like I'll just hit play and record, and I'll just play. I might play it for like a couple minutes, and I'll put like backmask, which just does like this reverse thing. It's a free plugin called backmask, and like I'll play keys and I may just play all white keys or all black keys, just real simple, just something I know is gonna, I'm not gonna lose the key, and then I'll go in and chop that and sample that, but just having that backmask on there, like if I'm not necessarily feeling creative, or out the segment or something to make it bounce or do something, looperator, just anything to make it do something interesting. And then I kind of get out of the brain of linear music, because I feel like linear music, even though I've been learning music theory and stuff, is kind of the antithesis of hip hop. Hip hop is like shit that doesn't make any sense, but it's just a vibe. Like Dilla beats they're not quantized. Like so much stuff doesn't make sense. Like how Public Enemy, a lot of their music sounds, it's not atonal, but it sounds like out of tune, but it's like a vibe, and it's like arresting in a way. You know what I'm saying? It's like I think it's just, to me, the live instruments are where you get all the random human vibe from. So even if I do program drums and stuff, if we're just like knocking and everybody's knocking on some stuff, like if you've seen our rhythm roulette, we're doing like no rules percussion and stuff, which is just us, everybody grabbing something and knocking on it, and then we'll just go in there and chop it. Just gives it like a human feel and just makes it something a little different than just it's like certain stuff gets boring, so you just find different ways to make it fresh. I think a lot of people are scared of instruments, but it's like if you just pick it up, you can hit a couple notes and figure out these 3 notes sound cool. Just play those 3 notes and then put them on a sampler and then play them as a chord. It's like, oh shit, that sounds kind of interesting. Now move the chord. Okay, now you got like a 2-note chord progression. That was all you needed. Like throw some reverb on there. Now you got a beat you're going on. And like that texture is all yours and nobody else has it. And somebody's like, man, that sounds like a sample. And they're like, man, I was just playing 3 notes. Like a lot of shit to me, I feel like everybody's doing it because it's so simple to me. I'm like, well, of course I just play 2 notes and then I just play the 7th chord over here or something. It's like, even not knowing music theory or anything like that, it's like, I don't know. I think we've always just searched. We're like sonic explorers, We're just always searching for something deeper, studying the greats and being like, where can we just, keep experimenting. So much dope shit with technology.
So here's a question about 5 Points Bakery. So when you are creating and collaborating and say you get a placement, Bufo was asking if you split everything evenly in those scenarios.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So most of the time it's just the 4 of us producing together. And so when it's that, we just put it right down the middle, like 25, 25, 25, our half of the actual 200% of the pie, our 100% is us 4, or our 50%, however you want to look at it. It's just us. Now, there's records like the Superfly. We did the first song on the Superfly soundtrack, the remake that they did like 2 years ago, I think. And we did the first song on there, Sleepy Brown featuring Scar, If You Want It. And I got like flutes and strings and some other stuff on there. And so like if it was somebody that composed, then they got writer's credit. And if it was somebody like, say the drummer, I told him exactly what to do. I was like, just do a feel like this. I literally put it all down, and he came and played it live just to put that live feel on top of it. He gets paid out through the union for his performance on the record, but he doesn't get a writer's share on the record, like the girl, Miko, who wrote the strings, she did because I didn't tell her what to write. She composed something new. John Williams, who played flute, he got some writers, Preston Crump. He came up with part of the bass line as well, pretty much basically breaking it.
Okay, we
like this big a role in it, so maybe you get a bigger portion, or it gets a little bit more dicey, but on just on the everyday placements, we just mix it all up, like everybody gets even shares.
So what do you do with these samples once you're done making them? Do you sell them? Do you send them out to producers? How do you go about that?
The main thing I do is send them out to producers, our homies. Like Lil C, we sent him one of our samples. We've been sending him sample packs, and that's how we landed Jadena's Tribe record. He did that with Mike and Keys, and that ended up being one of his singles. And that was a sample from like 2016. And they just took the first 8 bars of it, just the piano. And so, we split that kind of like on a 3-way split, like it was kind of like known producers like Lil C and then Mike and Keys. We'll give everybody equal. Usually if we place a sample, me and whoever played on the sample, we get half, and then the producer and whoever they bring involved, they get half as well, because sometimes they'll bring in a co-producer or whatever. It's like you can bring however many people you want, equal split on your side, equal split on our side. Just keeps it simple, because it's like it takes everybody to make the record. We won't get into that, level of importance unless there's like 13 people on the song, then you have to.
Yeah, I know that's a point of concern for a lot of producers using samples, just because they're afraid of what's going to happen once there's actually something at stake. And I see conversations and conflicts about splits and everything, and people arguing about, who deserves a bigger split, even if they're arguing over, 2 percentage points or something. How does you just cut through all that with your team?
You make them act right. Some folks, you got to make them act right, like shit, I'm not signing off on this if it ain't right, like you can try to pull whatever, because people will just straight up just try to do whatever they can do, whatever you'll allow people to pull, they will pull it, so a lot of times you just have to make people act right and be like, we're not going to sign this, or this is what we will sign, being fair, like it doesn't make any sense. A lot of people like try to shit on the Loopmakers or whatever. It's like you had to use that to make the beat, you didn't make it without the beat. That's half the, the music and the beat. It's half and half, It's like some people get into like dicey, not dicey, but like they start getting real choosy about that. I'm like, I never understood that, It seems like if you got a bunch, seems like it makes more sense to go on a run with these producers if you got a placement than to argue over a couple percentages, because no one song is really going to, go crazy like that. And that crowd mentality is probably going to fuck it up for being a hit. You're putting bad karma on your own songs, being like, oh, I had to fuck this person over to get another 5%. It's like, was it worth it to put that bad karma on your song? Probably not,
What's some advice that you can offer producers who are trying to get into the sample creation realm?
Listen to music and then just have fun with textures, like don't just pull up the stock preset and leave it at that. You can start it with that, but put some other effects on there. I've name dropped a lot of different effects on here. If you look up any of those, just put some different sauce on there. Make it saucy, like make your melodies something interesting, make it sound weird, make it, like what producers are looking for is something fresh and something that sounds like, it's like what Ricky says, how he describes our sound: foreign to the ear, familiar to the spirit. That's what they want. They want to feel like they've heard something before, but just nobody's heard this one, and they got this one loop. You know what I'm saying? So like now what we do a lot is we'll send exclusive packs out to producers, because a lot of producers don't like you having different packs, or a lot of producers don't like the same producers having the same packs, So I'll send like 10 or 15 out to a producer, and I'm like, yo, just let me know which ones you want. I'll put those to the side, and then the other ones can go back on them, to send back out, That way we got enough music, I looked the other day, we got over 1,000 samples, So it's like we got more than enough. There's no need to be like, oh, even if you only have 20, just send 5 to somebody and be like, I just sent you these. If in a couple weeks, no rush, if in a couple weeks you just let me know if anything hits your ear, even if you just like it, I'll put it to the side for you. It's gonna be a lot more successful than you sending out the same pack. And 2 people actually do, like worst case scenario, 2 people actually do make the beat. And they're in the studio playing beats for artists, and they play something similar. And they're like, what? Now both of them hate you, And it's like, well, you're like, I'm just trying to eat. How do I know? It's like, make some more fucking samples, It's like, Cardo hit me the other day about something. I'm like, pulled it off the market, I'm like, not even saying anything about it. If anybody hits me about it, I'm like, that one's gone, Just producers being able to trust you. That's something, They don't want to think that you're giving them something that you didn't compose, or that, that there's any problems with it. They just want to know, like, you made some shit, it's dope, and if they use it, they're going to be able to get it cleared, and it's not going to be no hassle. You're not going to come saying you need 75% of it. You know, it's like it's a trusting situation. You know, like they're using yours other than them just playing it themselves or using an actual sample. You know, so it's like you have to give them a reason why. It almost has to be more enticing than a regular sample. You know, you just gotta make it appealing to them.
Yeah, we had this conversation on the MEC podcast about, and this was with Track Sounds and Dame, about sending the same beat to multiple artists. I have your take on sending the same sample to multiple producers, which I guess you try not to do. I'm sure you've done it before, but it's probably based on your relationship with that person. But is that the same way you feel about beats as well, sending the same beat to different artists, or is that, would you say, a different situation?
No, all the artists get the same beats. I'm just kidding. I'm not really as picky on that, because a lot of artists, they'll just naturally, if they like something, they'll tell you that off the rip. I think it's something kind of just as producers we have to kind of not start talking about more, but just communicate more about. It's like we don't want everybody having the same samples. Then just let us know which ones you want. We could take those off the market. Don't let me send you a 20-pack and then I don't hear anything back about it. It's like, just let me know. So I think with artists, usually they're like, yo, that one right there is crazy. I feel like artists be the first one, like, put that to the side, or they'll just let you know more often than not. Yeah.
So let's talk about some of the new projects you're working on. You recently worked on a K Major project that seems to be doing well streaming wise. That's the totally independent project.
Yeah, absolutely. We did 2 songs on this project. One of them was with Jacquees. That one's doing really well. We did 3. So that was the third one. We co-produced that one. And then we just produced outright the other 2. Really dope. He's a really dope songwriter and artist. I've been mixing this girl named Mami, Mamii. They just started dropping records on her. This record called Jamie. Y'all should check that out. I mixed that one. That's real dope. I did like 12 records. I mixed 12 records for her over the summer. That's really dope. Anna Belina, who's part of our crew, she's got music dropping. We got a lot of music from her, dropping a lot of videos and stuff. We're about to do her big push. Go Ricky Go. He's got like 3 albums ready, like 2 instrumental albums. He's got a Digitech. You seen those? The Digitech, Electron Digitech. I forget what it's called. Maybe it's just called a Digitech. But man, he's going crazy. He got that in the Kai Force. So he's been going crazy. I'm waiting on my MPC Live 2 to come in the mail like any day now. About to go crazy. Just want to go sit in the woods and make some beats, like it's got the speaker on there. Yeah.
Oh, that's what the new MPC has a speaker built into it.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
You said that it's a new MPC. See, I'm so out of the loop. The new MPC has a speaker built into it?
Yeah, the new MPC Live 2 has a speaker on it. It's really
Isn't that crazy that it took them like 40 years to integrate
It seems
that?
so simple to just incorporate a boombox in it, right?
Yeah. Okay, so all these independent projects that you're working on that are doing well, how do you end up making that happen? What kind of networking goes into that? What kind of relationship building goes into that? Are you just sending beats out to these artists, or is it something a little more direct than that?
As far as production goes?
Just getting in with the independent artists.
It comes through different ways. Sometimes it's through relationships, through different promoters or different people I worked with before. Maybe somebody's a rapper who kind of retired and now they're managing artists, and I have a relationship with them for, a while. It's mainly just relationships, Honestly, it's like doing good business. Like, there's nobody that can point to me as like he's done me wrong in any kind of way, So people were like, at the very least, like, let me try him out and see. You know what I'm saying? And then usually they like it, so they'll come back and do more work or get more tracks or more mixes or whatever it is. It's just having that work ethic and that quality, and people knowing that they can depend on you. I feel like to attract indie or major artists, if you have that, people are going to come to you.
So here's a question, and I know this is another one of those points of concern for producers. I see the same question asked all the time about beats, and now we're talking about samples. What kind of legal concerns do you have with sending samples out, if any, and how do you address them?
Well, none, because as soon as you create it, the copywritten is technically created, you know? So if somebody wants to try to steal it or whatever, all you'd have to say is, here's the file. You know what I'm saying? My file said it was created on this day, you know? I don't know if it's hard to, like, create, like, you created a file beforehand. I don't know. I don't worry about that. I feel like that's such a small issue to worry about. If you're really in it to win it, then if that happened, then that would just be, like, a minor road bump, you know? I feel like
So that's never happened to you?
They
Never
don't
had
want
it
it to derail their career. It's like you're worried about your stuff getting stolen and nobody's even heard your music. Like get somebody to hear your shit first before you're worried about it. You know? It's like I feel like people are worried about the wrong stuff, you know?